He says he's not reluctant, he's not unwilling, but is he worthy of being India's Prime Minister? Joining us on the centre stage face-off tonight, I want to begin by introducing Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, National Spokesperson for the Congress Party. Also with us, veteran political analyst Veer Sanghvi. We've got Shiv Vishwanathan joining us and also Sunil Alagh. I want to go across first to Dr. Singhvi. Dr. Singhvi, why is it that you believe, on the basis of everything that Rahul Gandhi has done so far, on the basis of what the people of India have heard and seen of him, this young man deserves to be India's Prime Minister? If you could build a case for why, in your view, Rahul Gandhi is a worthy candidate to be India's PM, sir.
Firstly, Rahul, these debates don't decide prime ministers. They have to ultimately be born in the hearts and minds of people. And howsoever much you might give him negative marks and I might give him positive marks, they don't become prime minister unless the country desires first the Congress, second him. Secondly, these are very important preliminary points, because I don't want to be seen to be straight away answering your question without these preliminary points. Secondly, I still don't believe, although things have changed and certain states do have presidential kind of contests, I don't believe that we have still become so presidential that parties become irrelevant, ideologies become irrelevant. Subject to these two caveats, my answer to your question straightforwardly is that obviously this is a subjective answer, but within the areas of subjectivity, I believe that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a very well-meaning person. Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a very straightforward person. Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a young, very dynamic and a very energetic person. He has the good of India at heart. He has tried his best within the party to bring in a huge number of new paradigms, transparency, candor, electoral merit-based approach. He has approached each issue bona fide. He is not guilty of doublespeak or speaking with a forked tongue. According to me, his biggest strength is that he is not a typical politician, because he doesn't speak ambiguously or does not equivocate.
Okay.
He doesn't give political answers with a view to a kind of a narrow political benefit. And he has the strength and the courage of his convictions to lead from the front.
Okay.
He is not scared of adversity. He has gone in where others would not easily go in. He is ready to go in weak areas to improve, and he has a certain steadfastness which is very important.
Okay, you've set up this debate by saying Rahul Gandhi is well-meaning, he's straightforward, he's young, he's dynamic, he has the good of India at heart. He's tried to introduce an electoral merit-based approach. He's not a typical politician. Sunil Alagh, are those arguments good enough for Rahul Gandhi to become India's next Prime Minister?
As far as I'm concerned, for me, I lay a few items for what a Prime Minister should do. A Prime Minister is one who has to be decisive. A Prime Minister is one who has experience. A Prime Minister is one who's able to lead the country. And I think if Rahul Gandhi wanted to be Prime Minister in 2014, he should have become a minister at least in the last 2009. And he'd have had the experience. Right now, I mean, it's like all the other leaders who lack experience, and he's a great guy. Let me tell you, his idea, his simplicity, his approach is fine, but he lacks the experience. He's surrounded by people who are not advising him correctly, and therefore, ultimately, the nation today needs someone who's decisive, can lead, has had the experience. And that's why I think if he wants to be Prime Minister, he should start taking a more active role in politics and then come in later, and not just straight away being thrust.
You're saying he's not ready yet to be Prime Minister. He should have taken up a ministerial portfolio, displayed whether he understood how systems and processes in government work. Veer Sanghvi, you've heard Dr. Singhvi, you've heard Sunil Alagh. Do you believe Rahul Gandhi is ready to be India's Prime Minister?
Well, frankly, Rahul, it really doesn't matter what 5 people in a television studio think. The people of India will decide. But for what it's worth, my view is that he has some advantages and many disadvantages. Let's take the disadvantages. First
take a clear position on the show. I'd rather that you take a clear position than come up with a bit of this and a bit of that. Do you believe, Mr. Sanghvi, that Rahul Gandhi, as things stand today, is ready to be India's Prime Minister?
I believe that Rahul Gandhi is as ready to be India's Prime Minister as Arvind Kejriwal, Narendra Modi, as any of the other candidates in the race. I don't think he's necessarily better than any of them, but I don't think he's necessarily any worse. Is that clear enough?
Okay. Sunil Alag wants to interject before I go across to Siddharth
I just want
Vardarajan.
to say neither Kejriwal nor Rahul are ready to be prime ministers because they lack the experience. Not that they are bad people. They've got good intentions, zero experience, and therefore today when India is in a situation when they want economic growth, we are at its lowest ebb. We want a man who's decisive with experience.
Okay.
And I'm not
Siddharth
criticizing either
Vardarajan, Veer
Kejriwal or
Sanghvi
Rahul,
argues that
but
Rahul
that's the
Gandhi
main
is
reason
as
for me.
ready as Narendra Modi or Kejriwal to be Prime Minister. Narendra Modi has 3-term experience as Chief Minister. Kejriwal has worked on the streets much more than Rahul Gandhi has. Do you agree with Mr. Sanghvi and Dr. Singhvi when they say Rahul Gandhi is ready to be India's next Prime Minister, sir?
I think any politician who can win a majority in the Lok Sabha, regardless of the amount of experience he or she has, is ready to be Prime Minister. So I'm not impressed by a 3-term Chief Minister or the lack of any ministerial experience. The question is what vision does the person represent, what view, what plan do they have for the country? And here I'm afraid we don't see from Rahul Gandhi the articulation of vision, the articulation of ideas, the taking of positions on various issues that concern people. After all, you create space for yourself in the minds of people by taking a leadership position. And so far, he can if the Congress party gets the numbers, sure, he can be Prime Minister. But
No, but I'm not on electoral logic, Siddharth Vardarajan. I'm asking you to take a clear position. Do you believe on the basis of everything we've seen so far, Mr. Vardarajan, that Rahul Gandhi is ready to be India's Prime Minister?
No more or less than anybody else. I mean, I think it's somebody who commands, today, for example, if the Congress party were to say Manmohan Singh retires and we're going to induct Rahul Gandhi on the 21st or 17th of January, he has the numbers, he's ready, he'll be a Prime Minister. But how good a Prime Minister will he be? That's the question, right? And so the people of India, come election time, have to choose between Rahul Gandhi, Arvind Kejriwal, Narendra Modi, and you have on the one hand Modi, who has experience but who represents who carries a lot of negative baggage which people don't like. You have Rahul Gandhi, who perhaps says things that are quite positive but has no experience. You have Arvind Kejriwal, who has struck a chord with people, but again, he's an untested commodity. So each of these gentlemen, has as much of a claim. But the question that we need to ask is, what kind of a PM will they make?
No, we're coming to that. That's the fundamental basis of my question. But clearly, Dr. Singhvi, helped by the fact that both Veer Sanghvi and Siddharth Vardarajan leaning in more towards Rahul being ready to be Prime Minister than the argument put forth by Sunil Alag. I want to see where Shiv Vishwanathan stands before I go back to Dr. Singhvi. Do you think Rahul Gandhi is ready to be Prime Minister? And when I put that question, Shiv Vishwanathan, I'm not only talking about electoral logic. Naturally, if he gets elected, he will have the mandate to be Prime Minister. But does he have, on the basis of what we've seen so far, the wherewithal and the capability to be a good Prime Minister? Shiv Vishwanathan.
Look, history will judge his worth. But let me just say 3 things. Let's look at it as a performance. Here is a man who has genealogy but no history of competence, no history of achievement. Look at the nature of the succession. This should have been the drama of a 10,000-meter race. He presents it like a lemon and spoons race. There is no transition, there is no drama. In fact, there's so much relief at his being ready that readiness is equated to worth. That is the devaluation of the fact of power and competence.
That's brilliant. Readiness is not equal to worth. He has no history of competence and no administrative experience. And Dr. Singhvi, those are very serious negatives for a man who hopes to be Prime Minister, sir.
Absolutely. If Mr. Shiv Vishwanathan was a one-person elector or even 100 people like Mr. Vishwanathan who are electors, Mr. Rahul Gandhi's political future is doomed.
No, but
as I
Dr.
said,
Singhvi, you must answer the
throw a stone
substantive
and
points
get
being
almost
raised.
25
That logic
shades
doesn't
of
hold.
calibrated
We are
opinion.
talking about administrative experience,
substantive
history
points-
of competence, and
substantive
just the fact
points-
that he's ready doesn't mean he's worthy. Answer just these
Let
substantive
me-
points, sir.
Yes. 1 minute. First of all, very few people in the world have experience of prime ministership. That's the first time. Secondly, your competence is judged by what you have done. He has led from the front in all the positions he has done, and he's done very well in those positions. He doesn't have to show experience as the outstanding quality that he has to have been a minister. Who has said there are several first-time or near first-time leaders in the world who have achieved well? They are people who bring a novelty, a freshness. Certainly being a minister is not a prerequisite or a qualification for being a prime minister, which is the gist of all that has been said about Rahul Gandhi till now. I made several points in my opening. In those respects, he has tried his best. He has never turned away from adversity, and he attacked UP, one of the weakest states. He attacked the Youth Congress with elections and merit on his own. He had new paradigms. He had election commission created. He has reformed the Congress in so many ways of appointing persons, selecting persons, having district level, block level elections, changing. So many young ministers tell me which party, certainly not a party 125 years old, but any party has so many young people in positions of power in both party and in the government.
Sunil
It will not
Alagh,
happen just like that. He may not be a
respond to
minister,
the
but
argument
he
that
has
no
been
one has experience of becoming prime minister before they become prime minister, and just by virtue of being a minister doesn't make you any more worthy of being PM than not having that administrative experience. Sunil Alagh goes next.
But you know what Abhishek, I'm agreeing with you on Rahul being a well-meaning individual. When Manmohan Singh gave his speech earlier this 2 weeks ago, he should have said, okay, I'm handing over, and Rahul Gandhi should have become prime minister. He would have then led the Congress in, he would have had his team, he would have declared his policies. By him staying out and saying, I will wait for the elections, that's what I find wrong. And Kejriwal is totally incapable because he's dealing with a number of people without any policy. So anyone who puts Kejriwal in the same position as Rahul and Modi, I disagree with completely, because he is no way in any position to be able to say anything, because he doesn't even have a policy in place, and his leaders are turning around and saying, look, come on, you know, we got to evolve a policy. At least Rahul Gandhi has a policy with the Congress, Modi has a policy with the BJP. Rahul Gandhi should have said, and Manmohan Singh should have said, okay, I'm resigning, let him take over and let him lead the nation, and then we would have known whether he could be or not.
Okay.
That's the mistake
Veer
that Congress is
Sanghvi,
making.
we saw
with
in the
Rahul.
initial days of Rajiv Gandhi's prime ministership, the government stumbled from one mistake to the next, and part of the reason was because he wasn't ready. He didn't have administrative experience. He was much wiser by the 90s when he knew far more about how India was run than when he took over. All those mistakes were avoidable at a time when the economy is placed as precariously as it is, at a time when foreign policy is in the mess that it is. Can we entrust India to an inexperienced leader, Mr. Veer Sanghvi?
Well, it depends on how you define experience. Tony Blair had never been a minister before he became prime minister for 10 years. David Cameron had never been a minister. Obama had been a one-term senator. He had no experience of any kind of administration. Atal Bihari Vajpayee had been foreign minister for what, 11, 12 months, possibly 18 months. He had no other ministerial experience. Manmohan Singh had one term of experience, and at the end of that experience of Prime Minister plus another term of experience of Finance Minister, he's created the mess you talked about. So yes, experience is useful, but experience is also overrated.
You're saying experience is overrated, Sudhanshu Mittal. Veer Sanghvi cites the examples of Tony Blair, Cameron, Obama to say having ministerial experience doesn't prepare you any better. Just because Modi's been chief minister for 3 terms doesn't make him any better prepared to be prime minister than Rahul Gandhi. Sudhanshu Mittal.
I would agree with what Veerji is saying, it may not be mandatory, but you have to make an evaluation of the personality. I mean, here I like to have the persona and the mandate. Let's look at the persona. A man who has been a member of parliament for the last 10 years attends 43% of meetings only of the parliament. He never speaks on any vital issues concerning the country, be it inflation, be it security, be it women empowerment, be it be it corruption. He never speaks on 3G, he never speaks on Colgate, he never speaks. The only two debates he's taken part is Lokpal Bill and the famous Kalavati debate. Now, there are two qualities which you are required to have for leadership. One is a dream in your eye, more importantly, a fire in the belly. For somebody who has been at the helm of affairs for the last 10 years, has he exhibited that fire in the belly? I'm sure not many will say yes. Now, the mandate. See, when people make choices, what is it that they'll make choices with? They'll say performance versus promises, which actually are illusionary. Let's look at the performance of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. From guest appearance to no appearance. Suddenly the mind just disappears.
Okay.
There is a consistency which is required for leadership and which is required for creating hopes in the minds and in the eyes of people. Does he have it? I mean, I do not want to take sides. These are all questions
Now, of
which
course, you are taking sides. There's no dispute about it. And I want
India is a
everyone to
nation
take
of
clear-cut positions on this
125
program.
crore
I want to put
It
that
requires
question
a
to
leadership.
Siddharth Varadarajan, who in the first part of his argument stressed that if electoral logic favors Rahul, he will be Prime Minister and no one can stop that. But I now want to come to the second part of the question that you raised, Mr. Varadarajan. Is he ready? We've seen Sudhanshu Mittal say he lacks consistency, he lacks fire in the belly. So far he's been reluctant. We haven't seen what his vision for India is. Given these drawbacks, do you think he can make a good Prime Minister? Siddharth Varadarajan.
The individual matters only so much, right? Manmohan Singh was widely respected as an individual, but as Veer has noted, the last 5 years have been terrible. So, what is the policy that that a Rahul Gandhi-led government is going to pursue? We've not seen him articulate, the kind of issues, particularly corruption, which, we saw him have that dramatic performance when he said, tear up the bill. That was one of the few times that he caught the pulse of the nation and said something that, that people wanted him to say. But on loads of other issues, he has either been a bystander to all the misdeeds of the UPA government, or we simply don't know where he stands.
No, but take a
So,
clear
the
position,
absence
Siddharth
of any,
Varadarajan. My question is this. On the basis of everything that we've seen so far, do you believe Rahul Gandhi has the makings of a good Prime Minister? Answer that question.
In my view, the big dilemma for the people of India is that these two so-called prime contenders for prime ministership, Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi, one experienced, the other inexperienced, both of them do not have the makings of the kind of prime minister that this country needs.
Okay, you're saying he doesn't have the makings of a good Prime Minister on the basis of what we've seen so far. Veer Sanghvi, he's lacked fire in the belly so far. He's not shown any consistency. He's been an irregular politician. He's been reluctant. Given these drawbacks, do you think he can make a good Prime Minister, sir?
Well, the short answer is I don't know if he will make a good Prime Minister. I'm not convinced, however, that fire in the belly is an essential prerequisite. Manmohan Singh had no fire in the belly. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a statesman. He never hungered for anything. He had no fire in the belly. I don't think naked ambition necessarily makes for a good Prime Minister. But yes, I would concede that a degree of reluctance, a degree of diffidence, which is what Rahul Gandhi has shown in the last few years, does suggest that perhaps he should be more enthusiastic for the job. He should have been better prepared than he appears to be.
Dr. Singhvi, you want to respond to the charges of Rahul being a reluctant politician so far, displaying no real fire in his belly, no aggro, no desire to be on the ball, being ready to go. He's been an inconsistent, irregular and reluctant politician so far. Why do these handicaps not disqualify him from the post of Prime Ministership?
No, In the beginning of the program, I told you that these are sometimes convenient tags. They stick on because the media uses them repeatedly, and that happened in his case, I think, only because of a reason which has nothing to do with a reluctant politician, but because he refused to take up a ministerial position. That's about it. He has been hyperactive in the party. Why do you consider a person who's hyperactive in the party and who chooses not to take up ministerial position as a reluctant politician? He has toured the length and breadth of India. He has gone into areas which most ministers have not gone into. The only thing where, because in our country we have this huge thing about position. And I tell you, this is certainly a fact. With Rahul Gandhi, he's totally unpretentious. I don't say that he should not have taken ministership. Perhaps he should. But his whole approach is to work at the grassroots. And ever since he decided on 2 or 3 occasions early on, when ministership was clearly open to him, this tag is hung around him. But what about the work he's done in NSUI, in Youth Congress, in villages,
Shiv Vishwanathan, the fact that Rahul Gandhi did not hanker for power...
Is that not political hunger? Is that not hunger in the belly? Is that not hunger in the belly? To reform the whole party, which is much less reformable.
Shiv Vishwanathan, has Rahul Gandhi displayed adequate hunger in the belly, adequate consistency to be India's Prime Minister, or do you think not hankering for power, is that a positive or is that a negative when it comes to evaluating RG?
Look, Rahul Gandhi likes power. He likes it to be bestowed on him. He doesn't hanker for it. If he was leading the Boy Scout movement, there are possibilities. If he was part of a parent-teachers meeting, I would be optimistic. But to lead a nation, forget it. I think let's take this question seriously. This man is a coy, reluctant bride. The whole family is getting him married off. But you think that he hankers for power, that he is competent about power, is a travesty of analysis and history.
Dr. Singhvi must respond. Coy, reluctant bride, the family insists that he gets married, the bride herself not sure. And what is it that he's done which would really give people a sense of his competence, which would give them the confidence that here's a man who can lead us into the future, Dr. Singhvi?
100% marks to my friend Mr. Vishwanathan for excellent English, great subjectivity, remarkable adjectives, and total disconnect with politics. That's my answer.
No, but you must answer. You must answer, because we aren't seeing... Sunil Alagh has his hand up. He wants to build the argument that Shiv Vishwanathan has just laid out.
How many times, okay, let me answer, Rahul. How many times can I answer that this perception, you could have another sociologist or another academic having a totally 100% different view, because all that Mr. Vishwanathan has done is given his subjective,
no, absolutely. Everybody's view in a debate is subjective.
I don't think so.
We're on a very subjective issue, and therefore I'm asking people to take clear positions. None of what you're saying is objective either. It's also in the realm of subjectivity, and there is nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. No, it's a subjective debate. Do you believe the man is ready or not? This is the question that people will have in mind when they decide whom to vote for, and we want everyone to put out their free and frank opinion. Yes, you complete your argument, Dr. Singhvi. Sunil Alagh has his hand up. Yes, quickly.
Now Rahul, you are now speaking more than all the panelists combined, unfortunately. I have given you objective answers, and there have been objective objections to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Lack of experience, not taking ministerial post. Tell me one objective fact in the words spoken in the last answer by Mr. Vishwanathan. That's my point.
Okay, Sunil Alagh goes next.
Adjectives.
Sunil Alagh.
Yes, I've dealt with the experience point. I've dealt with the ministerial point, and those are objective facts. Those are objective facts.
Sunil Alagh.
You know, my only issue with Rahul is he doesn't hanker for...
Except subjectivity.
One by one, gentlemen. Sunil Alagh.
Abhishek, my only issue, he doesn't hanker for power because he has it. His reluctance to have responsibility and only authority, that's what worries me. He is able to exercise authority when he feels like it. Well, when he didn't like the law on convicted people in court, he came and tore up the stuff. Adarsh, he'll appear. So everywhere he appears to exercise authority when it suits him, but he doesn't want to carry the responsibility of government. He's a very nice guy. He's got very well-meaning stuff, I agree with you, but that is what I find his weakness is.
Okay.
He doesn't want to carry the responsibility, and that we cannot have as a Prime Minister who doesn't want to be responsible. He cannot talk like the opposition in Congress and say, I want to do this, and his whole party is doing exactly the opposite. I mean, please, somewhere the responsibility has to fall on the shoulders of the Prime Minister. Manmohan Singh doesn't want to carry it, Rahul doesn't want to carry it. Who's going to carry it?
Sudhanshu Mittal.
Taking forward, in fact, that's what I was about to say. All authority, no responsibility, no accountability. You know, the later part, no responsibility and no accountability. That's been the hallmark. And if that has been the hallmark, is it leadership? I just heard Mr. Singhvi talk about Rahul. I just want to say, leadership is all about leading. 43% attendance in parliament surely cannot inspire confidence of leadership and taking the democratic institution seriously. Only 2 debates in his entire career as a member of parliament. Is this what it is? What are your views on corruption? What are your views on security, foreign policy, FDI? I mean, you have a whole lot of issues which this nation needs your vision about before you take up the mantle of leading this country.
In the concluding part of Center Stage tonight, I want to take up whether Rahul Gandhi has been guilty of convenient politics, of taking very convenient positions. When it suits him, he wields all authority. When it doesn't suit him, he's got nothing to do with what the Manmohan Singh government is up to. And is that a negative? Given the fact that he hasn't, even in the interview that he's given to Dainik Bhaskar, he hasn't answered any questions on the non-performance of the UPA2, about corruption allegations against the Manmohan Singh government. He's focused only on what he intends to do in the future. Can Rahul Gandhi completely disassociate from the baggage of the past, or is that baggage which he will carry and needs to stand up and account for? Veer Sanghvi goes first.
I think Rahul Gandhi frankly has wasted the last year. When he was made Vice President of the Congress in the Jaipur session, I had this view, and we discussed it on the program, that perhaps he would now come out, say what he stood for, try and make his position clear as distinct from the government's position. He's done nothing. We still don't know what his views on economic policy are. We don't know what his views on foreign policy are. And as for distancing himself from the Manmohan Singh government, we suspect that he doesn't agree with a lot of it, judging by the fact that he tore up an ordinance, but we don't know. My guess is that he may try very hard over the next few months, but ultimately he's going to pay the price for anti-government feeling.
Varatharajan, Rahul Gandhi wants to disassociate himself from the UPA's failures, but can he do so? He's a part of the system. He can't now claim to be the outsider. And is that something which someone who wants to be Prime Minister can do without getting into a trap?
You know, the tragedy of Rahul Gandhi is that he spent the last 4 or 5 years, I think Abhishek Manu Singhvi is quite right, that it's not as if he did not engage with politics. He plunged headlong into reforming the Congress party, starting with the Youth Congress. Somewhere down the line, that project ran aground. The kind of reform, the kind of transformation that he wanted to effect in the Congress party simply did not take place. And when he accepted the position of Vice President, this was in a way the formal acceptance of his defeat, of acceptance that that project of his had failed. It's an irony of a sort that the Aam Aadmi Party and the way it connects with people is precisely the kind of thing that he wanted the Congress Party to do. He was unable to do that. So the party has had the last laugh. And you can see whether he becomes Prime Minister or he remains as he is, he's unable to shake or to change the kind of entrenched behavior pattern that is there for everybody to see. Once in a while he acts as a corrective. So he tells the Maharashtra government that, look, you cannot shelve the Adarsh report. Left to itself, the Congress Party's instinct is to bury it. Veerbhadra Singh, we have yet to hear him say anything. Rahul Gandhi say anything on this very serious charges against Veerbhadra Singh. So the old party is essentially having his way, and that's going to be like a millstone around his neck. So I think even if he means well as an individual, even if he has a lot of different or interesting ideas, his ability to implement them will be forever constrained by the fact that the Congress party, which is the party that he's going to lead, is incapable of rising to that challenge.
Okay, Dr. Singhvi,
so this is
being
really the
well-meaning
tragedy
is not good
of Rahul
enough.
Gandhi, that at the point when he
Kejriwal
declares
has
himself
shown
ready-
that you can actually get done a lot of what Rahul Gandhi has been saying he wants to. Over the last 10 years, he's been talking about reforming the system, but despite being in politics for a decade, failed to do so, and therefore that raises questions about his ability to turn his thoughts, well-meaning thoughts, into positive, concrete action on the ground. Dr. Singhvi.
I think firstly it's axiomatic that Rahul Gandhi becomes Prime Minister only if the Congress comes to power, and the Congress is validated by the electorate. It is obvious, and the reverse is also obvious. I don't think Rahul Gandhi in any manner is in the business of dissociating or distancing from the Congress as far as that is concerned. Second, I think what role he has played, and again the basic point is that Indians are not used to a person not getting ministerial post and power. So they cannot understand the position of a person who has decided to be a honest and a constructive critic but remain in the party. So this is a paradigm which is very difficult for Indians who go after power and look up to power with certain amount of awe and admiration to understand. It is true, but he has in fact discharged the role of an honest and constructive critic, but you can't expect him to be a demolishing critic of his own government.
Okay, Shiv
So I think
Vishwanathan,
he's tried to strike
Rahul
that balance.
Gandhi's been talking
And I think
about
he's brought a
wanting to make the
refreshing
sort of
candor,
changes that
refreshing
Kejriwal
candor
has shown
to that role.
are possible to be made in politics. Rahul Gandhi wants to open up the political system. Kejriwal has done a lot of that. Rahul Gandhi said the right things but failed to deliver on those. Does that show that he's not always able to translate his good intention into action? Or is it just a very difficult challenge given that he's got a 125-year baggage to deal with? Shiv Vishwanathan.
Look, I'm very sympathetic to the man, but I think we face the fundamental irony that the entrenched interests of the party have defeated all his intentions. Now that he's utterly ineffective, he can be made party leader. The irony is within the Congress. The nation is merely confronting that irony.
That's an interesting way of putting it. Sunil Alagh, your final comments. Kejriwal did a lot of the things that Rahul Gandhi wanted to. Does that show that Rahul wasn't able to translate his ideas into action? And does that then raise questions of what he can do later?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, neither Rahul is very honest, Kejriwal is very honest. Both have good intentions, neither have the experience to run a country. And for me, until they showed whether they have the experience as a minister or whether they have the experience in stating what their policies are, what their philosophy is, I mean, neither one of them are doing it. So as far as I'm concerned, the only man who's doing it is Modi, and that's the man of the hour for me.
Well, you've heard all points of view represented on our show tonight. From Rahul Gandhi is not capable, to Rahul Gandhi is ready, to Modi is the only man, to all people are equally confused, and that's the dilemma the people face. You've heard these points of view being articulated by these speakers. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on Center Stage tonight and lighting up our program with your arguments. Ultimately, it is the voters who will decide whether or not they believe Rahul, Modi or Kejriwal are ready to be Prime Minister. Thank you very much for joining us on the Center Stage Face Off. We slip into a break. When we come back, under fire, Law Minister of Delhi, Somnath Bharti, is joining us on the Center Stage hot seat, and we have some tough questions for him. Are Kejriwal's morals one of convenience? The Law Minister tampered with evidence, the courts ruled. Despite that, Kejriwal sees no reason for Somnath Bharti to resign. We'll have the Law Minister with us when we come back on the other side of a very quick break.